When you look in the mirror late at night, when the noise of the world finally dies and it's just you facing yourself, you know exactly where you are and where you're not. That reflection doesn't lie. It doesn't care about your excuses, your distractions, or your so-called plans. It knows the truth. You're either building or you're decaying. Every single day, life gives you two options: focus or drift. Most people drift, scrolling their lives away, chasing instant dopamine while their dreams collect dust. But if you want to rise, if you want to command respect, if you want to look back years from now and know you actually lived, then you need to sharpen your mind like a blade and lock onto your target. Focus is not some nice motivational buzzword. It is life or death for your ambitions. And execution is the bridge between who you are and who you dream of becoming. Without it, you're just another talker, or with it, you become unstoppable. You need to kill procrastination with action, destroy doubt with discipline, and silence fear with forward movement. The world bows only to those who execute relentlessly. Focus is the weapon that cuts through distractions. And most people don't even realize they're being killed by those distractions every single day. Your phone buzzing, social media screaming for your attention, endless notifications, the constant lure of comfort. It's all engineered to enslave your mind and keep you weak. You don't even notice it happening because it feels normal. But the truth is, every time you choose distraction over focus, you surrender a piece of your life, a piece of your potential. You hand over the only resource you can never get back, time. And when your time is gone, your dreams die with it. Focus is not about simply saying no to the things around you. It's about saying yes to the vision inside you. When you lock your mind onto a goal, distractions lose their power. Suddenly, the noise fades and the path becomes clear. Focus is the ability to cut through the fog and see the target with absolute clarity, no matter how far away it is. The sharper your focus, the less the world can tempt you, the less fear can paralyze you, and the less failure can intimidate you. Focus is the difference between those who drift aimlessly and those who carve their name into history. Think about the strongest warriors, the most successful entrepreneurs, the greatest athletes. They all mastered one thing: the art of focus. While the average person is busy scrolling, gossiping, and worrying about what others think, the focused one is working. While others sleep in, they're already grinding. While others waste energy chasing instant pleasure, they're building foundations that last decades. Focus is the ultimate separator. It's not luck, it's not talent, it's not even opportunity. It's the relentless discipline of directing your attention and energy toward what truly matters. Distractions are designed to seduce you because they're easy, they feel good in the moment, and they trick your brain into thinking you're satisfied. Focus is hard, it requires sacrifice, and it demands that you delay gratification for something bigger. That's why so few people master it. But here's the truth. If you cannot control your focus, you will always be controlled by someone else's agenda. Every ad, every algorithm, every product is designed to hijack your focus. They know if they own your attention, they own your life. But if you learn to control your focus, if you wield it like a weapon, you become untouchable. Focus is not just about productivity, it's about power. When you can focus for hours without breaking, you build momentum that others can't compete with. You start finishing what you start. You become reliable, not just to others, but to yourself. And when you know you can trust yourself to follow through, confidence skyrockets. Focus builds identity. It transforms I want to be into I am. The moment you prove to yourself that you can direct your mind without giving in to every distraction, you gain an edge over 99% of people. That edge compounds into wealth, strength, freedom, and impact. But make no mistake, focus doesn't happen by accident. It's a skill forged in discipline. You must create environments that eliminate temptation. You must cut people out of your circle who constantly pull you into mediocrity. You must guard your time as if it were gold, because it is. Set boundaries. Be ruthless. People will call you cold, obsessed, even arrogant, but these are the words of the unfocused, the weak, the distracted. Let them talk. Because while they're talking, you're building. While they're doubting, you're executing. While they're wasting, you're winning. Every second you stay focused on your mission is a second closer to freedom. Freedom from financial stress, freedom from regret, freedom from weakness. Distraction chains you to mediocrity, but focus breaks those chains and hands you the key to everything you desire. You can either be a slave to distraction or a master of focus. The choice is made every single day, in every single moment. Focus is the weapon that cuts through distractions, and like any weapon, you must train with it daily. At first, it feels heavy, it feels unnatural, but over time, it becomes an extension of you. With enough discipline, you'll reach a point where distraction feels disgusting, where wasting time feels painful, and where execution feels natural. That's when you know you've transformed. That's when you've become dangerous. And a dangerous man is one who can cut through the noise of the world and strike straight at the heart of his destiny. So stop handing your life away to mindless habits. Stop letting the world scatter your attention into a million pieces. Gather yourself, forge your focus, sharpen it every day, because the man who controls his focus controls his future. And when you have that weapon in your hands, there is nothing, no obstacle, no enemy, no doubt that can stop you. Execution turns vision into reality, and without it, your dreams are nothing more than fantasies floating in your head. Everybody has ideas. Everybody talks about what they want, where they'll be in 5 years, how they'll change their life. But the world doesn't reward people for what they think. It rewards people for what they do. Vision without execution is worthless, and execution without relentlessness dies halfway. The brutal truth is that only those who execute with consistency and force ever get to taste the life they imagine. Execution is the bridge between your mind and the real world. You can sit and dream about success all day, but until you put in the work, until you step into the arena, nothing changes. People love to talk about their plans because it feels good. It tricks the brain into believing progress has been made. But planning is not progress. Talking is not progress. Dreaming is not progress. Execution is the only thing that counts. If you don't act, you stay stuck, no matter how vivid the vision. The difference between the man who becomes a champion and the man who stays average isn't that one dreamed bigger. It's that one executed harder. When you execute, you face reality. Execution exposes you. It reveals whether you're truly committed or just pretending. It forces you to get uncomfortable, to fail, to stumble, to adjust, and to rise again. Execution is messy, it's painful, and it's unforgiving. But in that battlefield of action, strength is forged. Every move you make, every task you complete, every challenge you crush stacks up into momentum. That momentum is what transforms impossible visions into tangible victories. You don't wake up one day at the top. You climb there, brick by brick, day by day, through execution. Too many people sit around waiting for motivation, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for clarity. They don't realize waiting is the death of execution. There will never be a perfect time. There will never be perfect conditions. The man who executes now, even imperfectly, destroys the man who waits for perfection. Action creates feedback, feedback creates growth, and growth creates results. Execution is about doing, learning, adapting, and doing again. It's about taking the vision in your head and forcing it into existence through sheer will and repeated effort. Execution also requires discipline because it's not a one-time act. It's a lifestyle. Anybody can get hyped up for a day and put in some work. But execution demands consistency, showing up every single time, especially when you don't feel like it. It's easy to execute when you're motivated, when the fire is hot. The real test comes when you're tired, when no one's watching, when quitting looks tempting. That's where execution becomes a weapon. If you can force yourself to act regardless of feelings, you gain an unstoppable edge because most people surrender to their emotions while executors push forward no matter what. Execution isn't glamorous. It's not always about big wins. Sometimes it's grinding through the small, boring tasks that no one else wants to do. Sometimes it's failing 100 times and still showing up the next day. But those who execute understand that greatness is built on the unglamorous. The small actions compound. The repetition builds mastery, and eventually the vision becomes real. While others are busy imagining, the executor is building. While others are busy complaining, the executor is moving forward. And while others are waiting, the executor is winning. The world respects execution. Look around. Every product you use, every building you enter, every empire that exists, it's all the result of someone executing. Nobody remembers the man with ideas who never acted. Nobody talks about the dreamers who never did. The legacy belongs to those who acted, who turned thoughts into tangible reality. Execution is immortality because what you build outlasts you. But execution doesn't come without sacrifice. To execute, you must give up comfort, you must give up the illusion of safety, you must give up the approval of those who don't understand your mission. Execution requires saying no to distractions, no to laziness, no to weakness, and yes to responsibility. The responsibility of carrying your vision through blood, sweat, and perseverance until it manifests in the world. Both will not pay that price, but if you do, you become one of the few who don't just dream, but live their dreams. Execution is the dividing line. It separates the talkers from the doers, the pretenders from the producers, the average from the extraordinary. Your vision may inspire you, but only execution will transform you. And once you taste the power of execution, once you see your actions shape reality, you become addicted. You realize that nothing is impossible because the only limits are the ones you refuse to execute through. So stop waiting, stop talking, stop pretending, take the vision in your mind and force it into the world with relentless action. Execute daily, execute when it hurts, execute when you're doubted, execute until your vision is undeniable because execution is the hammer that smashes limitations, the fire that burns excuses, and the engine that drives dreams into reality. And when you master execution, the world has no choice but to bend to your will. Discipline beats motivation every single time, and the sooner you understand that, the sooner your life will shift from chaos to control. Motivation is a spark. It comes and goes. It rises when you're inspired, when the music is loud, when the speech is fiery, or when you feel like the stars are aligned. But sparks die fast. Sparks can't sustain a fire on their own. Motivation is fragile, unreliable, and emotional. Discipline, on the other hand, is the engine that keeps running when the feelings fade, when the fire is low, when everything in you screams to stop. Discipline is what carries you through the days when motivation abandons you. People love to say, I just need motivation. No, you don't. You need discipline. Because motivation will not drag you out of bed at 5 a.m. when your body wants to sleep. Motivation will not stop you from reaching for junk food when you crave it. Motivation will not silence the voice in your head that tells you to quit when the grind feels endless. Only discipline can do that. Discipline doesn't care about feelings. Discipline doesn't negotiate. Discipline is cold, it's strict, and it's ruthless. And that's why it works. Discipline is about building systems and rules that you obey, regardless of your emotional state. It's about setting standards for yourself and refusing to drop below them. Motivation is about moods. Discipline is about identity. When you are disciplined, you don't ask, do I feel like doing this today? You simply do it because that's who you are. It's automatic, non-negotiable. The disciplined person treats commitment like oxygen. It's not optional, it's survival. That's why discipline builds champions. That's why discipline creates leaders. Every great achievement in history was built on discipline, not motivation. Athletes don't become world-class because they're motivated every morning. They become world-class because they train regardless of motivation. Entrepreneurs don't build empires because they felt inspired every day. They build them because they executed relentlessly, whether they were tired, broke, or uncertain. Soldiers don't win wars because they were motivated. They win because discipline kept them sharp when fear tried to consume them. Discipline is the foundation of excellence. Without it, nothing lasts. Motivation is like the wind. It changes direction constantly. Discipline is like the ground beneath your feet. It holds steady no matter what storms hit. If you depend on motivation, your results will always be inconsistent. You'll work hard on the days you feel good and you'll slack off on the days you don't. But if you build discipline, you become unshakable. You execute the plan, whether it's raining or shining, whether you're inspired or drained. That consistency compounds, and over months and years, it forges results that motivation could never deliver. Discipline is also the cure for procrastination. Procrastination thrives on feelings. It waits until you feel ready, until you feel confident, until you feel motivated. But discipline destroys that excuse. Discipline says, do it now, no matter how you feel. And once you start moving, action creates momentum. Suddenly, what felt impossible becomes manageable simply because you refused to wait for the right mood. That's the secret. You don't need to feel like doing it. You just need to do it. Discipline makes that possible. But don't get it twisted. Discipline is not easy. It's a war. Every day you will battle laziness, fear, and temptation. Every day you will face the inner voice that tells you to relax, to take it easy, to do it tomorrow. Discipline is about silencing that voice with action over and over until it becomes second nature. The fight never disappears, but the disciplined person grows stronger with each battle won. Eventually, what once felt impossible becomes effortless because the habit is ingrained deep into your identity. Discipline also builds freedom. People think discipline is restrictive, that it takes away fun, that it makes life boring, but the truth is the opposite. Discipline is what gives you freedom. Financial freedom, physical freedom, mental freedom. Without discipline, you are a slave to your impulses, a prisoner of your emotions, and a victim of your weaknesses. With discipline, you control yourself. You decide your direction. You own your destiny. That control is the highest form of freedom. Think about it. Discipline in your finances leads to wealth. Discipline in your fitness leads to strength. Discipline in your work leads to mastery. Everywhere in life, the formula is the same. Discipline compounds into results. Motivation is temporary fuel, but discipline is the vehicle that keeps driving when the fuel is low. If you rely on motivation, you'll stop halfway. If you rely on discipline, you'll finish the journey, no matter how rough the road becomes. The truth is, discipline is rare, and that's why success is rare. Most people wait for the perfect mood, the perfect opportunity, the perfect moment. They live their lives chasing motivation like addicts chasing a high, never realizing they're wasting years. The disciplined, however, are rare predators in a world full of prey. They don't wait, they act. They don't rely on feelings, they rely on systems. And because of that, they rise. Discipline beats motivation every single time because discipline guarantees action. And action repeated consistently is the only path to transformation. If you want to change your life, stop hunting for inspiration and start building discipline. Create routines, eliminate excuses, make execution non-negotiable. Build yourself into a person who acts no matter what. And once discipline becomes your default, you'll dominate them because the disciplined man cannot be stopped. Action destroys fear and builds momentum, and this is one of the most powerful truths you can ever embrace. Fear is nothing more than imagination turned against you. It's a projection of what could go wrong, what might happen, what you might lose. Fear feeds on hesitation. The more you stand still, the louder fear becomes, the stronger it grows, and the heavier it feels. So you start doubting yourself, second-guessing every decision, replaying every possible outcome in your mind until you're paralyzed. But the moment you take action, the spell breaks. Fear cannot survive in the presence of movement. It evaporates the second you step forward because reality replaces imagination. When you act, your mind shifts focus. Instead of obsessing about what could go wrong, you're engaged with what's actually happening. Fear is a shadow. It looks massive from a distance, but once you walk toward it, you realize it has no weight, no substance. Action exposes fear for what it really is, an illusion designed to keep you weak. Every time you move forward despite being afraid, the fear shrinks. Every time you take a step, you prove to yourself that the monster in your head was never as big as it seemed. That proof builds confidence, and that confidence becomes momentum. Momentum is the hidden force behind every success story. It's the snowball effect. The more you push, the bigger and faster it grows. At first, action feels heavy. The weight of resistance, doubt, and fear makes the first steps the hardest. But once you start, momentum begins to carry you. Suddenly, the tasks don't feel impossible anymore. The grind doesn't feel unbearable, and the vision doesn't feel so far away. Action creates movement, and movement compounds into progress. Fear tries to chain you down, but momentum makes you unstoppable. Think about the moments in your life when fear almost won. How many opportunities did you miss because you froze? How many chances slipped away because you hesitated? Now think about the moments when you ignored fear and acted anyway. Didn't everything shift? The phone call you finally made, the workout you finally started, the conversation you finally had. Once you acted, the fear was gone. That's the pattern. The cure to fear is not thinking your way out of it, not convincing yourself with affirmations, not waiting for courage to appear. The cure is action. Courage doesn't come first, action comes first, and courage follows. Fear is smart. It whispers that you're not ready, that the timing isn't right, that you'll fail. And if you listen, it keeps you exactly where you are. But when you take action, you steal its power. Fear cannot control someone who moves forward anyway. That's why action is a weapon. It cuts through doubt, it silences hesitation, and it builds a track record of victories that no fear can erase. Every small action is a vote for your strength, and every consistent action builds momentum so powerful it drowns out fear completely. Momentum is the difference between those who succeed and those who quit. Success is rarely about massive single leaps. It's about building momentum through consistent action until the force becomes unstoppable. One workout won't transform your body, but 100 will. One sales call won't build a business, but thousands will. One page won't write a book, but daily writing will. Each action stacks onto the last, building momentum that compounds like interest. And the beauty of momentum is that it makes the process easier. What was once difficult becomes routine. What was once scary becomes natural. The longer you stay in motion, the harder it becomes to stop. Fear thrives in stillness. Momentum thrives in action. That's why the most dangerous place you can be is stuck in your head, overthinking, replaying scenarios. Action pulls you out of that trap. Even imperfect action is better than paralysis. You don't need the perfect plan, the perfect timing, or the perfect strategy. You just need to start. The clarity will come while you move. The strength will come while you act. The opportunities will reveal themselves along the way. Momentum rewards those who dare to move, not those who wait for guarantees. Discipline may get you started, but action builds the momentum that carries you beyond discipline into identity. Once momentum is on your side, you don't need to force yourself to move. You crave it. Action becomes addictive because you can feel the progress, you can see the results, and you can taste the transformation. That's why people who are successful in one area often succeed in others. The momentum they built in one domain spills over into everything else. Success breeds success because momentum multiplies. So stop waiting for fear to disappear. It never will. Fear is part of the process, but it doesn't have to own you. The only way to silence fear is to act in spite of it. Take the first step, even if it's shaky. Make the first move, even if it's messy. Once you act, you weaken fear. Once you keep acting, you destroy it completely. And as momentum builds, you'll look back and laugh at the things that once terrified you. Action destroys fear and builds momentum. And momentum creates a force that no obstacle can withstand. The man who acts even in fear becomes stronger than the man who waits for courage. The man who moves, even without clarity, becomes sharper than the man who waits for perfect plans. The man who executes, step after step, becomes unstoppable. Because in the end, fear is powerless, but action is eternal. And if you keep moving forward, fear will never have the strength to hold you back. Consistency creates the unstoppable force within you, and without it, all the discipline, action, and vision in the world will eventually collapse. One day of focus doesn't change your life. 1 week of effort doesn't build greatness. 1 month of grinding doesn't create legacy. It's the relentless repetition, the daily commitment, the refusal to stop, no matter what. That is where true transformation happens. Consistency is the glue that holds everything together. It's the habit that compounds small actions into massive results. It's the quiet force working in the background that turns ordinary men into giants. Most people fail not because they don't start, but because they don't continue. They sprint in the beginning, fueled by excitement, but they burn out when the novelty fades. They work hard for a week, maybe a month, then quit when progress slows. They don't understand that consistency is not about intensity in the short term, but about endurance in the long term. Anyone can go hard for a day. Few can go steady for years. But the ones who do, the ones who keep showing up, keep pushing, keep stacking brick on brick, they become unstoppable. Consistency is power because it compounds. Just like money compounds interest, actions compound results. 1 workout doesn't change your body, but 1,000 do. 1 study session doesn't make you an expert, but years of learning do. 1 day of saving money won't make you wealthy, but years of disciplined saving will. The magic of consistency is that it multiplies your effort exponentially. At first, the results seem invisible, and that's why so many quit. They don't see the payoff fast enough. But the consistent understand that small repeated actions create an avalanche of success that eventually becomes undeniable. Consistency also builds identity. When you show up day after day, you're no longer someone trying, you become someone who does. You're no longer someone attempting to get fit, you are an athlete. You're no longer someone trying to build a business, you are an entrepreneur. Identity is forged through consistency. It's the daily proof you give yourself that this is who you are. And once that belief takes root, nothing can shake it. The world may doubt you, others may question you, but you will know with absolute certainty who you are because you've proven it to yourself thousands of times through consistent action. The truth is, consistency is boring. It's not flashy, it's not glamorous, and it doesn't give you immediate rewards. It's waking up early every morning when no one sees. It's grinding through the same workouts, making the same calls, writing the same pages day after day, long after the initial excitement is gone. But what's boring in the moment is legendary in the long run. The boring reps build the body, the boring routines build the business, the boring habits build the legacy. The people chasing excitement will burn out, but the consistent will outlast them all. Consistency also makes you dangerous because it gives you momentum that others can't match. When you move forward day after day, your progress becomes unstoppable. Even if each step is small, the sheer accumulation turns into a tidal wave of power. Competitors who quit and restart constantly will never catch up to the man who never stopped. The consistent man doesn't need to restart because he never breaks. He keeps moving, steady, relentless, unstoppable. That's why consistency beats talent, beats luck, beats motivation. Because consistency never stops. It's important to understand that consistency doesn't mean perfection. You will stumble, you will miss days, you will make mistakes. But consistency means you return again and again, refusing to quit. It's about building the habit of persistence, of bouncing back every time you fall. Missing 1 day doesn't matter. Missing 1 week doesn't even matter. What matters is that you return to the path and keep moving forward. That return is what separates the consistent from the quitters. Consistency also eliminates doubt. When you've been doing something for years, you no longer question whether you're capable. You've proven it. Confidence comes not from hype, but from evidence. And evidence is built through consistent action. Every time you show up, you're casting a vote for your ability, for your identity, for your future. Those votes add up until your confidence is unshakable because it's rooted in reality, not fantasy. The unstoppable force within you is not built in bursts of effort. It's built brick by brick through consistency. Imagine water dripping on a rock. 1 drop does nothing. 1,000 drops do nothing. But over years, those drops carve valleys into stone. That is the power of consistency. It wears down obstacles. It breaks through resistance. It bends reality to your will. The world cannot resist someone who never stops. Consistency creates the unstoppable force within you because it makes quitting impossible. When showing up becomes who you are, there is no alternative. You no longer need motivation, you just do it. You no longer need discipline, you've built the habit. You no longer need courage, you've built confidence through proof. Consistency transforms effort into nature until progress is inevitable. That's why the consistent always win. They may not be the fastest, the strongest, or the most talented, but they are the ones still standing when everyone else has given up. So stop obsessing over speed, stop chasing motivation, stop waiting for perfection. Choose consistency. Choose to show up every day, no matter how you feel, no matter how slow it seems, no matter how far the goal looks, because consistency will take you there. Consistency will carry you when everything else fails. Consistency will transform you into an unstoppable force. And once you become unstoppable, nothing, no fear, no failure, no obstacle can stand in your way. And now let me leave you with this. Life doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't pause for your doubts. It doesn't wait for your fears to fade. Every single day, the clock is ticking, and every tick is either building your future or stealing it from you. You've heard it all. Focus is your weapon. Execution is your bridge. Discipline is your foundation. Action is your cure, and consistency is your power. These are not just ideas, they are laws. And the man who obeys these laws becomes untouchable. He becomes the one who rises when others fall, the one who builds while others dream, the one who wins while others quit. There will be days when you don't feel like it, when the weight feels too heavy, when the voice in your head screams to stop. That is the moment you must remember greatness does not live in comfort. It lives in resistance. Push through, execute anyway, be disciplined anyway, act anyway, stay consistent anyway. Because if you keep moving, if you refuse to break, the unstoppable force within you will awaken. And when it does, nothing in this world will ever stand in your way again.